Hey guys, it's Naturally, and today I'm coming at you with another College Hacks video. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to get your textbooks for free and or save on textbooks in general. I know you probably hear that word free and textbooks and you're like, there's no possible way that I can get my textbooks for free. Like, that's impossible. No, it's not impossible. It is very possible. In fact, my last year of college, I spent absolutely no money on textbooks. I'm talking $0. Okay, so it is very possible to go the whole school year without spending any money on textbooks. The number one way to get your textbooks for free is to go to your school library. I'm going to say that one more time. Go to your school library. Yes, the library will have some, if not most, of the textbooks that you will be using for the school year. Now, some books will be on reserve, and that just kind of depends on how your library does it. When I was going to community college at TCC, the books on reserve, we couldn't check them out and leave the library with them. We had to use them while we were in the library. Now, when I got to UT, the reserve books I was able to check out and take out of the library, but I could only check them out for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And there were other books that were on reserve that I could check out for 1 day or 3 days. So it just kind of depends on how your school does things, even with reserve books. And like I said, I guess this just depends on what your library does. But you can keep checking out the book for as long as you need it. So if you checked out a reserve book for an hour and your hour is up but you're still not done with the book, you can keep checking it out until you're done with it, or until somebody else needs to check that book out. Now, books that aren't on reserve, you can check those out for weeks at a time, even like months. I think I was able to check out my textbooks for about a month, and then I had to go and either return it or check it out again. Nobody else was trying to check out the same copy as me, so I got lucky in that sense. But definitely go to your library as soon as you know what textbooks you're going to need, because the library might only have one copy of the book that you need, and you don't want somebody to get to it before you. So go as soon as you know. And if you can't find a book at the library, then another free way to get a book is to ask your professor. I know, it's really weird. You're probably like, what is she talking about? Ask my professor. Your professor will have older editions of the book that you're going to have to get. But if you're cool with using an older edition, then go ahead and ask your professor if they have an older edition that they wouldn't mind letting you borrow for the semester. Now, I'm just speaking from personal experience. I never asked a professor for a textbook, but one semester I had a professor who overheard me talking to another classmate about how I didn't have the book for this class, and he called me to his desk after class and asked me, do you have the book for this class yet? And I was like, no, I don't. And he's like, well, I have an older edition that I could give you if you would like it. And I was like, heck yeah. I mean, mind you, this was for a business calculus class. So the information in the new edition compared to the older edition he gave me was going to be the same. It was just going to be, chapters were going to be different, problems were going to be changed, but for the most part, it was just as good as getting, as buying a new book. After he gave that book to me, it never occurred to me that I should ask professors for their older edition books, or just ask if they have an older edition they would let me borrow, because the teachers have the same books that you have, because that's how they teach out of it. I mean, Sure, I guess they might have a professor edition, but some books, their books, the books they're teaching you with are the same books that you have. So you can ask them, see if they're cool with letting you borrow their older editions of textbooks. I know it sounds kind of intimidating and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to talk to my professor. I get it. But if you are really strapped for cash, then I would suggest at least exhausting this option. I mean, the worst they can say is no. But if you can't find your books in the library and your professor won't let you borrow their older edition, then the next best thing to save money on textbooks is to rent. You can rent on Amazon and Chegg. I don't know any other websites. I'm sure there are other websites that you can rent books from. So if you do know of a place, another website you can rent books from, leave it in the comments below for other people to see. Yeah, you're spending money on the book, but you're not buying a brand new book. If you're in a position where you do have to rent a book, then I would suggest renting it as soon as possible, because sometimes it takes a very long time to get your book, like a week or two. My next tip is to buy used. There were bookstores around campus that also sold used books. Now, the hiccups that come with buying used are that if you're in a class and the professor is using a brand new edition of the book, then more than likely that the used bookstore will not have that book for you, because y'all are the first class, or this is the first semester that this book is being used, so nobody has used it yet. And if that's your case, then I would suggest buying a used book that is in an older edition. With some editions, or with some classes, the information in the books are going to stay the same. Like, you know, minor things will change. Maybe they'll add a couple new words in there. They'll change up the chapters, just depending on what class you're in. The information is more than likely going to be the same in the old book as it is in the new book. So I wouldn't get too caught up on not having the brand new edition, because older editions can just be as good. If buying used isn't for you, then the only thing I can suggest is that you're going to have to just bite the bullet and buy a new book. Yes, it's going to suck. You can also buy your books on Amazon, but you just really have to do your research and make sure that buying it from an online retailer or vendor is going to be cheaper than buying it from the actual school store, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes you'll end up paying more on Amazon for the book than you would at the bookstore. So you just kind of have to do your research and just shop around for the cheapest price. But regardless, you're probably going to still be spending more money than you're going to want to spend. The only upside to buying new, I guess, is that you, at the end of the semester, you can sell back your book. You can sell back your book to the school, or you can just sell your book to the used bookstores. You probably won't even get half of what you spent on your book back, but at least you will have some money in your pocket from that book. So, I mean, if you have to buy a book, you know, just look forward to the end of semester when you can sell it back. So those are all the tips that I have for you about saving money on books. I hope that you liked this video, and I hope that it was really helpful, because I know buying books is like a pain, and it just, it's just the worst. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to show that subscribe button some love. We'll see you in the next video. Bye!